You're watching Commander's Demand with your host, Sports PSP, exclusively on the Grid Network.
Yo, what is up, folks? It's your boy Sports PSP in the building. Hope everyone is enjoying a fantastic day. Hope, first and foremost, everyone enjoyed a wonderful 4th of July, whether at the pool, barbecuing, playing basketball out in the court like I normally do. Hope everyone enjoyed a wonderful 4th of July and hope everyone is enjoying a fantastic summer. We're about 2 months away, folks. Two. You can see my fingers right here. You can see it right now. 2 months away from football season. It's amazing, folks. But hey, whatever. It's your boy Sports PSP in the building. As you know me, welcome to Commander's Demand. It's a podcast in which your boy Sports PSP discusses things surrounding the Washington Commanders. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic day. And please, folks, go like and subscribe to the Grid Network channel. Also, please go like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sports PSP. Also, like and subscribe whatever content I do, whether TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. The list goes on and on and on, folks. Hope everyone is enjoying a fantastic, wonderful day. Want to talk about, of course, folks, the Commanders. And I got to talk about one, Travis Kelce. Even though Travis Kelce has no relevancy regarding the Washington Commanders, however, he does because of Eric Bieniemy, because Eric Bieniemy was his offensive coordinator during his time in Kansas City. Travis Kelce went on some podcast called Pardon My Take. And this is what he had to say about one Eric Bieniemy in terms of his position with the Commanders. This is what Travis Kelce said. Oh, yeah, baby. You guys are getting a dog. A dog. He's a dog. He's going to fire up that team. I think he's awesome for the core group of guys you've got. I'm sure you can. Ask Logan Thomas a few things since he's had a little offseason with him so far. But I think what Bieniemy does better than a lot of coaches is that he's very organized. He's going to make sure guys know what they're doing. And look, however you feel what you want to feel about what Travis Kelce had to say. Some may say he's just doing it to help out his boy, Eric Bieniemy. Because people have used Eric Bieniemy being around Andy Reid and the head coaches and all the other stuff regarding Eric Bieniemy. I think Eric Bieniemy should be a head coach. As much as I love having him as an offensive coordinator for the Commanders, he should be a head coach. There's no question about it. And stop with these goddamn fucking excuses. Well, you know what, folks? He was with the Andy Reid coaching tree, But so was Matt Nagy. So was Doug Peterson. So was a lot of other coaches. But they never had these excuses. They never had these things said about them. But ironically, Eric Bieniemy does. These are things that have been said about Eric Bieniemy far too long. Maybe you just saying this and looking at what Travis Kelce said, hey, he's just looking out for a brother. He's looking out for somebody that he really depends and he really counts on. I've said it, folks, and I'll say it again. If Eric Bieniemy becomes the new head coach, I ain't got no problem with it. because he has been in the Andy Reid coaching tree. And if you look at that Andy Reid coaching tree, shit, man. John Harbaugh, Doug Peterson. I mean, the list goes on and on. His coaching tree is a hell of a lot better than Bill Belichick's. Goddamn right, I'm going to take Eric Bieniemy. Sorry, folks. Travis Kelce may know what he's talking about. He's been around Eric Bieniemy. And folks, if you want to comment and add your opinion on it, always feel free to always add your opinion. I'm always fascinated to what y'all got to say. But I think Eric Bieniemy is going to do a good job. Because I think with the Commanders fans, they're not sold on Ron Rivera. They appreciate Ron Rivera. They appreciate what he's done on the defensive side of the football field. But ain't no way he's going to be the future for the Washington Commanders. That's why we have Eric Bieniemy. And I hope Eric Bieniemy finally gets his due. Finally gets his recognition. Finally gets his chance. Because for far too long, he has gotten shitted on. Well, he doesn't interview well. Well, you know, he's been around the Andy Reid coaching tree. Sorry, folks. Need a little drink. I mean, because when you do a podcast like we normally do, you got to have some beverage or whatever to drink. But anyway, that's here, no there. And Eric Bieniemy has had a lot of things that have been said about him for far too long. Andy Reid coaching tree. Is it really him calling the plays or is it Andy Reid calling the plays? You know what? Eric Bieniemy, I mean, it's easy when you have guys like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and all these other dudes to call plays with or to work with. But damn, maybe Travis Kelce knows what he's talking about. Travis Kelce is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's damn sure. He will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is no doubt one of the greatest tight ends to have stepped foot. And I have said this is a good hire for the team. I believe Eric Bieniemy has brought in life to this organization and to this fan base because him being around the Andy Reid coaching tree, him knowing a thing or two about offense, the players have spoken very highly of him. And this is the guy that we could build around for our future. Now, the only concern I have with Washington is Sam Howell, the quarterback. I've said it before and I'll say it again, folks, and I will continue saying this until the day I die. I hope Washington tanks the rest of the season and try to get their hands on Caleb Williams. No disrespect to Sam Howell, but I don't see him as the long-term solution for the Commanders. Eric Bieniemy, on the other hand, I see that because of the coaching tree, the experience he's been around, and I believe Antonio Gibson is going to have a hell of a season. Matter of fact, Eric Bieniemy used to be the running backs coach. He knows the thing how to work with running backs. And do I see Kareem Hunt joining with the Washington Commanders? If that's what you're going to try to ask me, the answer is no. And unfortunately, with running backs, I just don't see running backs of Kareem Hunt's age lasting that long in the NFL. I think Antonio Gibson is going to have a bounce back year. And if you want to move on from Antonio Gibson, which I don't see, and if you go for a young running back, I think Eric Bieniemy is going to do wonders because that's how gifted, that's how brilliant I am. Some of y'all may not believe what Travis Kelce has to say because I feel like in Europe, this is my assumption. A dude is just looking out for another dude. And Travis Kelce is very aware of some of the things that have been said about Eric Bieniemy. Like I said, doesn't call the plays, doesn't do a lot of other things. Is it him or is it Andy Reid? But Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, a lot of these dudes that have been around Kansas City know exactly what they're talking about with Eric Bieniemy. So, as a Commanders fan, I am very fortunate and glad and proud. Shit, no doubt about it. We got a dog in Eric Bieniemy. And when you hear that from Travis Kelce, a dog himself, it resonates. There's no question. And I believe he can. And if Sam Howell becomes this good or great quarterback, then maybe I would think less and less of not tanking the rest of the season to try to get Caleb Williams, if that comes into fruition. That's my opinion. All right, folks, let's talk about one Jahan Dotson for the Washington Commanders, who is their number 2 wide receiver and had a good year, solid year. 35 receptions, 523 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns. Can Jahan Dotson take his game to the next step up? And look, man, I think he can, because everyone knows how great Terry McLaurin is. And Terry McLaurin, the more I think of him, and I got to give major shout outs to my boy Bryson Carver, who does this podcast, Carving It Up podcast. Go check him out, folks, on the Grid Network. As I said with Commanders Demand, not only like and subscribe to the entire Grid Network, because, man, we got a lot of talent. You know, with Bryson and Dev with his podcast, of course, Ryan, of course, and a lot of other dudes at the Grid Network. We are coming. We coming. It's like Puff Daddy once said, can't stop, won't stop. We ain't stopping. We grinding. He mentioned Terry McLaurin as the DeAndre Hopkins. Not really in terms of the talent, but really in terms of the production. And if you look at the past 3 years of Terry McLaurin, 3 consecutive seasons of over 1,000 yards, and look at the quarterbacks he's had to work with throughout his career. Rest his soul, Dwayne Haskins. God rest his soul. Taylor Heineke, Carson Wentz, Kyle Allen. You know, Alex Smith. He hasn't had that much talent to work with. So everyone knows they're going to pay a lot of attention to Terry McLaurin. They're going to pay so much attention to Terry McLaurin. And if you pay a lot of attention to Terry McLaurin, then it seems to me you're going to give Jahan Dotson more opportunities to capitalize. And he's with a new quarterback, with Sam Howell. Even though I've been on the record saying I'm not sure on Sam Howell, if I'm Washington, I tank the rest of the season because, of course, folks, I want to get a generational talent in Caleb Williams. But I also said if Sam Howell can become the next Drew Brees or the next Russell Wilson, this Super Bowl champion quarterback, this Pantheon quarterback, top 5, top 10 quarterback in the NFL, then for me, if I'm Washington, I'll take it. Because that's how desperate I am at the quarterback position. Folks, I don't think you realize we really haven't had that great quarterback play. You know, other than Joe Theismann. And when's the last time Washington has ever had a quarterback like that? When's the last time Washington's ever had a quarterback like that? We had a chance with RG3. And you know what happened. I don't want to dwell on the past, not going to get into that. I just won't. Because it sickens my heart. My heart it hurts still to this day what should have been with RG3. It's hard, folks, and shit, I'll admit it. I mean, I don't like revealing my personal business, but damn, I do drink. I've been drinking a lot lately. I ain't no alcoholic or anything, but I do drink. And I do drink of what could have been and what should have been with the Commanders. And this is a team, folks. I think Terry McLaurin will take his game to the next level. I think there's going to put a lot of attention on Terry McLaurin because that's how legit he is. If you look at Terry McLaurin right now in the NFL, he's arguably a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. So when there's that much attention on Terry McLaurin, there's opportunities for Jahan Dotson to capitalize. And he's going to do it with a new young quarterback in Sam Howell. And with the new offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. Can you imagine what Eric Bieniemy is going to do not only for Sam Howell and Terry McLaurin, but also for Jahan Dotson? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine how good Eric Bieniemy can turn around that Commanders offense in terms of the skilled players? Shit, man, that'd be heaven. That'd be music to my ears. And plus, it also gives I'm sorry, not Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson to show people maybe I can be a number one wide receiver. You never know. You never know. You just don't know. He could be. But yeah, you never know. You never ever know. So my expectations for Jahan Dotson, considering the fact that there's going to be much more pressure on Terry McLaurin, they're probably going to find ways to neutralize or contain him. I expect Jahan Dotson to have more receptions, more yards, and just as amount of touchdowns. Jahan Dotson could get, I mean, if you look at the numbers that he had last season, let me read you his numbers. Jahan Dotson. He had 35 receptions for 523 yards and 7 touchdowns. So, I believe he could be around 55 receptions, probably around 800, 900 yards, and just as many touchdowns. Because Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and I like Curtis Samuel. He could be a valid, legitimate deep threat for the team, but the problem with durability issues. And Washington still, we damn sure haven't addressed the tight end spot, which is why I've been saying draft Darnell Washington. But I'm gonna try to chill. I'm gonna be calm. I'm gonna relax. It's the summer. It's the summer. About 2 months away from football. Two, folks. 2 months away. Man, y'all. Lord. 2 months away from football. And this is a team that is projected to finish last place in the division. And my boy Leaf, he actually thinks, and go shout out to my boy Leaf. You know, he had a lot to say about James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers, a lot of other things. Go like and subscribe to his Instagram, his YouTube channel. He actually thinks Washington could do some things this season. And I don't know. I really don't know that could actually happen, folks. I just don't see it. As much as I want to believe it, I just don't see it. Now, maybe he does have a point because, again, it is the NFC East. And Washington, he also made the argument they're too good of a team to tank. They're going to win some games, I mean, we have a really good defensive front with Darren Payne, who had the best year of his career, double-digit sacks. Jonathan Allen, who is a Pro Bowl caliber player, who's been to the Pro Bowl before. I mean, if you look at the numbers that he had last season, 64 combined tackles, 20 assisted tackles, 7.5 sacks, only 1 interception. He's had 33.5 sacks in his career. I think Jonathan Allen and De'Aaron Payne are the best inside front in the NFL. I really think they are, because they can stop the run and they can put a lot of pressure on the quarterback and on the offensive line. And Washington, you can say whatever you want about the organization, and they're a shithole organization. But our defensive line, especially the interior, no joke. Especially with De'Aaron Payne, Jonathan Allen. Jonathan Allen has made 2 Pro Bowls in his career with this team. De'Aaron Payne made the Pro Bowl last year. We got to find a way to keep our outside with Montez Sweat and Chase Young. If we trade Chase Young, we have to find a way to keep Montez Sweat. We lose them for nothing. We can't. We certainly can't. We just can't lose that shit. We can't lose that. Can't do that. Damn sure we cannot do that. We just can't do that, folks. We just can't. We can't. We cannot do that. Because that's what we do best. There are a lot of things we don't do best, but we can get after the quarterback. We can find a way to stop the run. Our front 7, very solid. Very, 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 very solid. So we can't do that. And I hope, like I said before, folks, we got to find a way. We just got to find a way. There are a lot of things to turn around with this organization. There are a lot of things we can turn around with this team. This is one of them. We got to keep what we have with our defensive line. Because this defensive line gives not just quarterbacks, not just offensive lines in the NFC East, but the rest of the teams in the NFL a world of trouble. So we got to find a way to have what we have. Because, folks, we got to do what we got to do. Then our next subject, Hard Knocks. A lot of people are tuned in to see Hard Knocks, HBO Hard Knocks, because preseason, they want to see the stories, a lot of other stuff. And the team that's often been heard and talked about regarding Hard Knocks is one New York Jets. In large part because of the quarterback they currently have in Aaron Rodgers. People want to be tuned in to seeing the the New York Jets on Hard Knocks. Because of Aaron Rodgers, New York Jets, they've been on Hard Knocks before. I think last time they've been on Hard Knocks was in 2010. New York, etc., etc. But why not the Washington Commanders? Heck, you never know. You wouldn't want to rule that out. Even though Ron Rivera doesn't give me the impression he wants to be on the camera on his face every single time. But I do think it is intriguing nevertheless. Because of Eric Bieniemy, as I mentioned, first year as the offensive coordinator of the team. Sam Howell, first year as the starting quarterback for the Commanders. A quarterback who was drafted in the 5th round out of North Carolina. Who has a lot to show and a lot to prove, especially for Commanders fans to think this is the guy we could build our franchise around. Really. This is the guy that we got to build our franchise around. And he's got to show us that he can be that next good quarterback. Damn, folks, I'm first young motherfucker. I mean, when you do this podcast shit, you gotta have something to drink. I'm sorry. It is exciting with the Commanders being on Hard Knocks because also Chase Young, the trade reports, the rumors. Is he going to still be with the Washington Commanders, or could he possibly go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, or could he possibly go to the Detroit Lions, who is projected to win the NFC North Division, who has a lot of upside, a lot of potential. Even my boy Bryson has the Lions in the NFC Championship game. I don't even know when's the last time Detroit has been to the playoffs. I'm sorry, in the NFC Championship game. I think it's got to go back to the 90s. Somewhere around that time. But it hasn't been replicated. Just hasn't. So, and a lot of other things with the Commanders, ever since they've changed the logo, the name of the team. Can they be that team? Can they be what I hope they can be? And of course, with the new ownership, folks, do I got to tell you so many times how disgusted, how ashamed I am with Dan Snyder as the owner? Do I need to remind y'all of that? I shouldn't. I mean, he is the worst owner, not just in the NFL, but in all sports. He's worse than Dolan. James Dolan of the New York Knicks. He's worse. Can you imagine how awful of an owner you have to be worse than Jim Dolan? Do you realize that? Do you understand that? Look, folks. If the Commanders don't make it on Hard Knocks, I ain't losing any sleep. But I do think they're a team that definitely deserves to be in consideration. Given everything that has been transpired with the organization, the name, the logo of the team, the head coaches, shit, a ton of things. A variety of things. Sorry, folks, my voice is killing me because when I'm that passionate, I lose my voice just like that. But then, man, I wouldn't mind watching the Commanders on Hard Knocks. And also, too, not just because of all the other news, but the other unknown news, because we want to hear some of the other players that haven't gotten their recognition, that haven't gotten their due. I mean, it's interesting to hear about the rookies, some of the other players that I haven't mentioned on the show that I definitely will at some point on this show. It's important that they should get some recognition too. And it would be a great way to energize and give the fans in DC or Virginia or Maryland or wherever some excitement. Shit, I live in the Jersey area, folks, but I'm still going to rock Commanders all day, every day. That's a fact. But you got to give you got to give us something to excite about. Something to excite about, folks. I mean, Hard Knocks, Commanders. I mean, if you want to say the New York Jets because of Aaron Rodgers, if you want to say the Los Angeles Chargers because of Justin Herbert, if you want to say the Raiders because it's in Vegas, of course. Josh McDaniels is the head coach, even though I thought he should have never been a head coach in the first place. If you want to say the Dallas Cowboys, if you want to say any other team, fine. But I do think Washington deserves some consideration so that it could change the perception and give Washington something to talk about in a positive manner. Because a lot of times Washington hasn't been spoken in terms positively. Just hasn't. And I gotta hear Barry's ass. Love Barry. He's like a brother to me. But man, he makes fun of my Commanders because he said it himself. What's fun or exciting about Washington? Well, I mean, that's easy for you to say because you are a Dallas Cowboy fan. Reason why the Commanders are exciting, nation's capital, you know, the burgundy colors, the tradition, the heritage of the franchise. I mean, we've had a first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, Doug Peterson. That's something to be proud about. And before Daniel Snyder took ownership of this team, the organization was no laughing stock. Wasn't no laughing stock at all. In terms of the production on the field, we had something to look forward to. And with the new ownership and Josh Harris, I hope, like I said, trust the process. Tank the rest of the season, try to get Caleb Williams. If Sam Howell becomes the second coming of Drew Brees or whatever, hey, I'll take it. Because as a Commanders fan, I'm that desperate. And in today's era, when it comes to the quarterbacks, in terms of the play, their style, you're only going to go as far as your quarterbacks. You're only going to go as far as your quarterbacks, folks. That's just the truth. That's just the reality at the end of the day. Bottom line. Simple as that. You know, I just think with this organization, you got to give us something. You got to give us what we hope, what we expect, what we can be, what we need to be. Folks, I'll say it again. I know I sound like a broken record, but I can't, man. We really need something. We really need something of what Washington fans can hope and become. We gotta turn around this franchise. We gotta be something. Because I know Washington fans, I know y'all tired of it. Y'all tired of being a laughing stock. Y'all tired of being a joke. Y'all tired of being an embarrassment. Y'all tired of being last place literally every year in the division. Whether the Giants or the Cowboys or the Eagles, whether the Giants won, Eagles 2, Cowboys 3, however way you want to look at it. But we got to turn around this franchise. We just have to turn around this franchise. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. It's just the only way we can do it, folks. We're not going to go this far. We're just not. We're not going to go this far unless we make some serious ass changes. It's just that simple. We deserve better. The Commanders fans deserve better. That franchise base deserves better. It wouldn't hurt us to be on Hard Knocks. It wouldn't. It wouldn't. I think it definitely would elevate this franchise. Give us something to talk to. Give us something for us to need and be excited and be electric about. That's what I feel like what should happen. But yeah, Hard Knocks. Yeah, I wouldn't mind the Commanders being on Hard Knocks because I think there are a lot of things that we could sell. Say whatever you want, but Eric Bieniemy, first year as offensive coordinator, a black man who's constantly had this narrative about him. Is it really him or is it really Andy Reid, who called the plays in Kansas City? Sam Howell, first year as a starter, second year in the NFL, fifth round pick out of North Carolina. Could he be the guy for the Commanders, or should the Commanders just tank the rest of the season and try to get their hands on Caleb Williams, which I'm afraid that the Arizona Cardinals may try to do. And folks, I will discuss that at some point in time with my podcast, Sports PSP. Go like and subscribe to that podcast because I will talk about which team that could possibly get Caleb Williams and much more on that. But for the Commanders, hey, we got to figure out something. We got to do something. Because if we don't do something, then how else we're going to grow? As an organization, as a fan base, and much more. Some unfortunate news I gotta read. Chase Roulier has officially announced his retirement from the NFL. This is what he said on social media. These 2 years have also given me a lot of time to reflect and gain clarity on my priorities in life. This is what he said on Instagram. This decision has not been an easy one, but after lots of prayer and processing, I am confident it is the right one. Roulier appeared in 69 career games, 63 starts since being selected by Washington out of Wyoming in the 6th round of the 2017 NFL Draft. I'm reading an article here from ESPN. The Commanders could turn to free agent Nick Gates or rookie Ricky Stromberg, who was a 3rd-round pick out of Arkansas at center for the upcoming season. So, very unfortunate news regarding the Washington Commanders. You know, it's really sad. It's really unfortunate. Damn, 29 years old. I mean, I can't blame him for making that decision. If you feel like you've reached the point where you just can't take it anymore in terms of the punishment, and also here, folks, that's what's most important, in between the ears. If you don't have that going forward with you, then regardless of your talent and your skill set, hey, you're not going to go that far. The mind, always remember, folks, the mind controls the body. The mind controls the body. At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. If your mind does not match your skill set, I don't give a shit about your skill set. You ain't going that far. And Roulier made a hard decision. He thought about it very long and hard, and he made the best decision for himself. And I can't blame him for that. So I wish Chase Roulier nothing but the best. I hope he finds opportunities somewhere else. As far as with the NFL, broadcasting, podcasts, whatever the case may be. As for the Commanders, next man up. Next man up at the end of the day. Next man up. And with Nick Gates and Ricky Stromberg, Washington's offensive line still has areas we have to address. The offensive line is at best questionable. When I say that, I'm being generous because there's a lot of things that we have to improve regarding the offensive line. I think in order to help Sam Howell out and in order to help out the talent around the offense, it starts and goes with the offensive line. Not just with the quarterback, but also with the offensive line. We got to do a better job of finding ways to protect our quarterback. And also help out Antonio Gibson. Because if we want Antonio Gibson to have a great year like he had in his first 2 seasons, we got to change it. Oh, and we actually have a comment. Guy from Newark. I really want to see this offense is going to look like. You know, guy from Newark. First and foremost, I thank you for commenting. Yeah, I mean, when you look at this offense with Eric Bieniemy, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be, how Eric Bieniemy is going to utilize this offense. How is he going to build around Sam Howell? I mean, Washington. I mean, damn, you could have drafted a tight end. You could have drafted Darnell Washington. You didn't even get a tight end in the position. I like Logan Thomas, but he's not much of a difference changer, a difference maker. Maybe, folks, I just sound greedy as hell. It seems like I'm a spoiled kid when it comes to Christmas time, and I just focus on the gifts, what type of gift I necessarily want. But you got to understand when you've been around and supported an organization like Washington for long enough, you should. I mean, you really should demand and expect for shit. You really should. You really should. Because you want more. You always feel like you want more and you could do more. I mean, that's just not with the Commanders. That's also in life and business. Shit, the reason why I work so hard with the podcast and all this other stuff is because I expect better. I want better. I don't want this. I want much more. So I have an opportunity to provide not only for myself but also for my family. You know, I want to do everything I can. And I want the Washington Commanders to do everything they can on their part because it's been a long ass time since we haven't done well. I mean, we haven't won a championship since like what, 1991? I mean, think about that for a second. I mean, just think about that for a second, folks. That is hard to do. That is painful. Man, I mean, it's hard. And it's really hard to support this team because I want to give something to talk about when it comes to this team. I want to give this team some excitement. I'm tired of this team being a laughing stock because the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants, all those teams are just better than us. But guy from Newark, I do hope that the offense they can take the next step up with Sam Howell at quarterback. And if Sam Howell doesn't turn out well, there's Jacoby Brissett. And if we miss out on Caleb Williams, and if we end up getting like a top 3, top 5 pick, and if we get Drake May from North Carolina, hey, I ain't losing any sleep off of that. Because Drake May is that good, folks. We could talk about how great Caleb Williams is, and Caleb Williams is phenomenal. But people need to watch some tape on Drake May. Don't act like Drake May's chopped liver. That's all I'm saying. Then, before we wrap up the podcast, start, bench, or cut. Start, bench, or cut. And there were a lot of players I thought about start benching or cutting. We're going to talk about the NFC East running backs. And that's with Saquon Barkley of the New York Giants, Tony Pollard of the Dallas Cowboys, and Antonio Gibson of the Washington Commanders. So who will I start, bench, or cut? Commanders fans, you may not like me saying this, but I have to cut Antonio Gibson because he's not as productive as the other two running backs, as Saquon Barkley and Tony Pollard. So that's easy to say. Gibson, I would cut because of those two running backs. Commanders fans, I got to keep it honest and I got to keep it real as possible. Now, Saquon Barkley or Tony Pollard, who would I start or bench? Saquon Barkley plays a huge role for the New York Giants offense. And if you take him away, then you're asking a hell of a lot for Daniel Jones to handle. You're going to have to ask Daniel Jones to elevate his game. And Daniel Jones, to his credit, he had a really good year last season. Helped the Giants get to the playoffs, win a playoff game, first year with Brian Dabble as the head coach of the team. I think Daniel Jones has found the right type of head coach for him. Then you look at the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott. I don't think Dak Prescott is that type of quarterback. And guy from Newark, appreciate again. Go like and subscribe to his YouTube channel, folks, guys. Saquon starts. Yeah, Saquon starts. Because obviously when healthy, he's the superior talent. But the concern, however, with Saquon is durability. That's been the problem with Saquon Barkley. And unfortunately, with running back, Saquon is he just turned 26 years old. So a lot of running backs don't last that long in the NFL. I mean, hell, we're seeing Dalvin Cook, 4 consecutive seasons of over 1,000 yards and 43 touchdowns. Still can't even find a home in the NFL. I mean, that's shocking to me, folks. That's sad. That is really sad to see a talent like Dalvin Cook not even in the NFL, but that's a story for another day. So yeah, I start Saquon because when Saquon is healthy, man, he's a difference maker. He's a game changer. That's why the New York Giants drafted him with the number 2 pick in the draft. And they made the right choice over him instead of, God forbid, Sam Darnold. Can you imagine if the New York Giants drafted Sam Darnold? Oh, Lord, that would have been nasty. That would have been terrible. And then you bench Tony Pollard, even though he has the injury. But Tony Pollard, folks, he can produce, folks. I mean, if you look at the year that Tony Pollard had, and he's proven he's now the focal point for the Dallas Cowboys than Ezekiel Elliott. If you look at the year Tony Pollard had last year, 193 carries, 1,007 yards, 9 touchdowns. I mean, and unlike what Ezekiel Elliott is at this point, he provides that dash, he provides that burst, that speed. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott could still play, he could still be effective, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, but he's not the running back he used to be. Tony Pollard could provide that, and he can also do special teams. He could add different things to the table. And that's what I like. I mean, versatility. But I think Saquon, I start, even though I have the concerns about the durability issues, but Saquon is more dynamic. And when healthy, he changes life for the team. I bench Tony Pollard and I cut Antonio Gibson. And I hope that Antonio Gibson has a bounce back season. I hope Antonio Gibson, with Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator, and this is going to be a lot for Eric Bieniemy because Eric Bieniemy, with this offense, he has a lot to show. If Eric Bieniemy can make this offense legitimate, this would definitely elevate his chances as far as getting a head coaching job in the NFL. I really do. Because I think EB, he's been around the Andy Reid coaching tree. Players respect him. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, plethora of players respect him. They have nothing but love for him because of how he carries himself. And I think for Washington, he can hold these players accountable and get them to places that they never thought or imagined. And when you hear that, as a Commanders fan, it's touching. It's breathtaking because we really haven't had much. I don't know if we really had much at all. So, start Saquon Barkley because I think he's the more dynamic player, and I think he's more of a game changer, a difference maker. Bench Tony Pollard, and I would cut Antonio Gibson. So I'll say it again. Start Saquon Barkley, bench Tony Pollard, cut Antonio Gibson. All right, folks. That concludes the end of Commanders Demand podcast. Thank you for taking your time to listen to the podcast. It's your boy Sports PSP. Go like and subscribe to the Grit Network. Go follow a lot of people. Guy for Network. Thank you, my man. I really appreciate what you said. I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, like I said, start Saquon, bench Tony Pollard, cut Antonio Gibson. I mean, who would argue that? So those are my thoughts. But that concludes the rest of the episode, folks. It's your boy Sports PSP. Thank you for taking the time, folks, to listen to what I had to say. I really appreciate your time. Just listening to my podcast, listening to all my pain and regarding the Commanders. Yeah, because it's not hard. Because it's hard, folks. I mean, I talk about a lot of things. I talk about a lot of subjects regarding sports, but it's really hard for me to talk about the Commanders, folks. I mean, I feel. I mean, damn. I gotta admit, shit. I drink a lot of alcohol sometimes to deal with the pain and the emotion I deal with as a Commanders fan. I really do. I really do. I mean, it's just hard. It's just hard. It's just hard, man. I mean, it's frustrating. It's just frustrating. I just put on the link, folks. If you're interested, please go like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sports PSP. If you're always interested to look at content regarding things I do regarding the NFL, the NBA, and more, go like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Always know where to follow me, folks. I may do a podcast on Friday. I may talk about some things regarding Kyler Murray and stuff like that. I may talk about some other things regarding the NFL and the whole NBA situation regarding Damian Lillard. So check that out. And also go like and subscribe to the Grid Network. Go also like and subscribe to everyone. Bryson, Ryan, Dev, everyone, Patrick. I mean, there's a lot of great content. There's a lot of great podcasters, content creators, and the reason why we keep doing this stuff is not only for us, but also for y'all. I mean, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for y'all, the fans. We wouldn't be here today if it weren't for y'all. So we appreciate every one of the fans for taking your time to watch the podcast, listening to us, hear our perspectives, and then formulate and develop your own analysis, man. I appreciate y'all. And folks, hope y'all enjoy the rest of your week. It's your boy Sports PSP. Thank y'all again, and God bless.